Hi, this is Carolyn Radmanovich. I told you in the last video that I would tell you about the tree of life almost turning into the tree of death. This is a story based on my near drowning almost 20 years ago. This inspired me to write my first novel, The Shapeshifter's Wife, and I followed up with a second. You can check the links below if you're interested. One warm spring day, my husband and I were canoeing on the Russian River. We didn't have much experience, but we were having a great time. We came to a sandbar and stopped to have lunch. I looked off in the distance, and high on the hill, there was a big looming house with a wraparound porch and a turret on the third floor. I wanted to go there and explore, check it out, but there was too much brush in the way. After lunch, we paddled to where the river forked. There was a big giant oak tree that had fallen into the river. It created a current. We tried to paddle away from it, but the suction pulled us into it and we banged into the tree. And immediately our canoe tipped over. My husband pushed up to the surface and he was out, whereas I, being a good swimmer, just relaxed and went with the flow. I didn't realize what would happen. I was pushed under the canoe, which was stuck under the big tree. I tried to move the canoe because I was stuck. There was no air. It wouldn't move. And I tried it several times. It just wouldn't budge. It was jammed in there. My lungs were burning. I really needed to take some air. And I realized I was going to be dead. This was it. This was the ending of my life. I said a short prayer, thankful for my life, but wanting to live a little longer. I felt fear of what was going to happen next. And then, surprisingly, I felt excited. Like this was going to be a new adventure. I was going to go into the cosmos and be with God. I took a deep breath and everything went black. My husband searched for me, but I had disappeared. He tried to dislodge the canoe, but it was jammed. So we stopped and looked down the river to see if maybe I had floated away. I wasn't there. So we went back to the canoe and shoved and pushed, and then his adrenaline kicked in. And he shoved so hard that he was able to get the canoe unstuck. The next thing I knew, I could feel my feet hitting gravel. Apparently, my life jacket made me buoyant, and so I floated to the surface when the canoe became unstuck. I became jarred awake, and I stood in the turbulent water up to my neck. I tried to breathe, but my throat closed off. It was locked. Later I found out sometimes people die this way from dry drowning. My husband was yelling, "Relax, relax." He could hear me trying to get air. I tried a few more times, and finally, my throat opened. And I stood there and I yelled, "I'm alive! I'm alive!" I was so happy. For weeks, months, a year went by, and every day I wake up and I'd be totally happy. For the most mundane things, it was thrilling. Getting up early, going to work, cleaning the toilet, everything was great, and I was so happy. My husband was thrilled that I was able to breathe. He said, "I'll try to get you out of the water." There was a huge cliff on one side, and he started climbing the cliff, but the sandy soil broke and he fell in the water. The second time, the same thing happened. He got a little higher up the hill, but the cliff gave way. The third time, he looked up and he saw a pole. He was able to grab hold of it and then pull himself up. He reached down and took my hand and helped me get out of the water. During the following months, I kept dreaming about the house on the hill, and I knew I had to go back and find it. Over and over, I had these dreams about the house, what it looked like, what it was like to be there. I just had to go. I had to search for the house. And vague beginnings of a novel started taking place in my mind. I knew I had to write a novel. It would be my way to pay back the universe for allowing me to survive. Next time, I'll tell you about the search for the house. and the beginnings of a new book. God bless, and don't ever forget how precious life is.